I have fun with this shit because I'm not afraid to talk about anything.
I'm having fun. I'm sure all you guys are having fun right now too. Hopefully,
I hope
this
so.
is fantastic.
Don't change the channel just yet, folks. Guys like me, we've devoted our life to this, man. There are no rules as long as it sounds good. It's the mindset of how you approach the music. Have the emotion first, then add the theory. It's like have the experience first, then add social media. Put that on YouTube.
Yeah, that's going on YouTube for sure.
Good. It's not about gear. You know, the first thing you wanted to talk about when he got here was, hey, let's talk about that guitar. It doesn't matter. It's the first time I've ever been at the bar at Robert's without a drink in my hand.
Well, the bar's right there. We could probably reach over and grab a couple of buds or something. Life Lessons with Guthrie Trapp. Hey, everybody, welcome to John's Guitar Lounge. I'm Johnny Stewart, and I'm here with the one and only Guthrie Trapp, and I want to thank you so much, man, for being here. This is just amazing.
Conversation.
We are.
And we're actually at a lounge. Except it's 10 a.m. and not 10 p.m. That's the only problem.
Exactly. So we are here at the one and only Robert's Western World, right in downtown Nashville on Broadway. I first came here in 1997 when I was 13 years old, and then a few years later, right at the door down there, right next to the stage, I got to see you and hear you play for the first time, and it blew my mind. You were with Don Kelley.
Thanks.
And so, thank you. For everything you give us and everything you do for music. What got you actually started playing music, and why did you choose music as your career path?
Well, you don't choose it.
Yeah.
It chooses you. And so there was no choice for me. I grew up in a family that had really good taste in music. My uncle's a self-taught musician. I'm an only child. I hung out with him after school. All my family's friends were artists and musicians on the Gulf Coast, 7 hours south of here. And all the records they listened to, were recorded for the most part in Nashville. A lot of singer-songwriters, a lot of pickers, Sam Bush, Jerry Douglas, Bela Fleck, Mark O'Connor, Tony Rice, the bluegrass scene, David Grisman, all that new acoustic, all that amazing new acoustic music. And then songwriters, John Prine, Jackson Browne, Emmylou Harris, Nancy Griffith, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, and then there was some world music and all kinds of different stuff. There was a very eclectic mix of music in my household growing up, and I think that if you're born into a family that's listening to a lot of great music like that, and it's around you from the time even before you're born. My parents don't play, but that music's getting in your blood and in your heart and soul and your ear before you even pick up the instrument. So you're kind of already on your way to. The path is being set before you're even, old enough to know what's going on. And that's a big part of it. I mean, for me, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to college for anything. I didn't go to music school for anything. I never learned anything about music theory or any of that. I mean, people will argue with you on here and go, oh, he knows theory and this theory. But it's like, I know enough to get by and stuff like that, but not enough to where your mindset is coming at it from that place. And that's the big difference. And like me and you started talking about this earlier about, I'm not a country guitar player. I just like to play music. And so if you come hear our trio, it doesn't sound anything like country music. But if you heard me with Don Kelley here 25 years ago, well then we're playing some country music. We're playing some blues music. We're playing some R&B. We're playing all kinds of stuff. And so when people see you playing the Telecaster and you live in Nashville, they just automatically assume you're a country guitar player. But I'm not. I mean, I like to play music. And so, when you come to a town like this and it's full of these amazing guitar players, my friends like Tom Bukovac and Jed Hughes and Jack Roosh and Tommy Emmanuel, Jack Pearson, all these guys that are amazing musicians, you don't think genre when you hear these guys. Like when I hear their names, I don't think like, oh, he's a rock guy, he's a country guy, he's a blues guy, he's a jazz guy. You don't think about that because these guys, they're musicians and they just love to play really good music. And so if it's a bluegrass song, we're going to play the bluegrass vocabulary. If it's a country song, we're going to play the country vocabulary. So I see music as being a direct parallel to language because it is a language. And so you're speaking this language. And so if you just, I had the luxury of growing up around, like I said, a lot of different kinds of music. So I like a lot of different kinds of music. And so if you just think of it like, well, I'm a rock guy and I'm just going to play rock guitar. Well, to me, that's a very narrow way to look at it. And you're going to have a hard time making a living as a working musician if you're not versatile and well-rounded. So the more music you like, the more you are influenced by that stuff. And then eventually that also allows you to have your own style emerge from all those different influences. But if they're real narrow, if you just love Stevie Ray Vaughan and you just want to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you're probably not going to do that good because there's nobody that's ever going to do Stevie Ray Vaughan better than he did.
No kidding, right? Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, and
exactly.
you also have to be smart enough to stay away from those things. Like, it's like Jeff Beck. Nobody's ever going to sound like Jeff Beck.
Right.
But you can steal from his ideas and the influence of it.
Borrow.
You're borrowing.
I don't want to steal anything from anybody.
No, well, we are. Yeah,
we all steal from everybody, though.
We're borrowing for life. We're borrowing those ideas. But it's like I'm influenced by. I love Mark Knopfler. I love Ry Cooder. I love David Lindley. I love Jeff Beck. I love all these different African guys and Cuban guys, right? Yeah. But I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of learning all their music note for note. I don't want to do that. I just want to take the spirit and the feel and the flavor and the ideas of it and make those your own. So you're kind of like you're not stealing their note for note things and playing those verbatim, but you're taking the feel of it and the flavor of it and a little bit of that, and you're incorporating that into who you are. And so that's kind of how I like to look at it. I mean, it's about zooming out and really thinking about what music is and what it means to you. It's not about gear. The first thing you wanted to talk about when he got here was, hey, let's talk about that guitar. And I stopped him because I'm not the guy that's going to just, I'm gonna push up a little bit. So I was like, hey, man, let's not talk about gear. Let's talk about the real engine room of what music is and what that means to all of us.
See, Guthrie is driving this interview. It's not me. You're the one driving all this. It's a guitar channel. I love guitar, so I automatically go there, but the music is the key.
Hey, I love guitar too, but I'm not a fanatic about it.
Well, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It doesn't matter. And so, and that's another thing too. I mean, you just got to be careful with, the things that we're all struggling with are all the same. We're all human. Being in the music business is not much unlike any other small business anybody's trying to run. And so it's approached in the same way. And so, the things that everybody's struggling with are all the same. It's comparison to other people. It's lack of motivation. It's thinking yourself out of things before you even get started. And so if you really want to learn how to play music, and you have to really be a strong person, and you have to not be, waking up and getting on social media and immediately going, well, that guy's so much better than me. I'm never going to get there. Well, you're not going to get there if that's the way you look at it. You're not. And so life is short. Time goes by fast. Talking about doing the thing or telling your friends you're going to do the thing or having a great idea or having a great meeting, and then everybody leaves and you go, oh, that was a great meeting. Oh, we had some drinks and we had some laughs and we talked about a bunch of great ideas, but nothing ever gets done. Not. I don't like that. So it's hey man, if we're going to meet and talk about some great ideas, let's execute them. And make something happen because we're fired up, we're excited, we're not getting old and bitter, we're getting old and motivated, we want to keep this stuff going. Is it a great way to make a living? Absolutely. Is it hard? Hell yeah, it is,
Anything worth doing is hard, though.
Anything worth doing is hard. Playing the guitar is not complicated, but it's not easy either. Yeah. And so we got to deal with all that kind of stuff, man. Like, when you start thinking about, well, I'm not as good as this guy, or I'm not as good as that guy, or this guy's career is way better than mine, or whatever. It's like, man, that's a waste of time, because that is going to defeat you every time. So what you have to do is you have to put one foot in front of the other. You have to learn a little bit. Don't try to eat an elephant in one sitting. Take little pieces and just rock on and keep progressing forward. The graph of your life is going to go up, and then it's going to go down a little bit. It's going to go up, and it's going to go down, and it's going to go. But if it's trending upwards over the long haul, then you're good.
What a wonderful, wonderful way to put that. That's seriously so inspiring. That's the best I've ever heard that put.
You're going to have some shitty days, and there's not one thing wrong with that, because guess what? So is everybody else on the planet. And so, social media is a world where everything's great all the time. You know, and everything's not great all the time.
Right.
You're going to have some days where you feel defeated, and your motivation and your inspiration is your battery's dead on that day, and that might last a week, that might last a month, that might last a year. But you know what? You're going to come out of it, and you're going to be stronger, and then the graph's going to trend up the next time, and the next time you have a little slump, that's okay, because like I said, over time the graph is trending upwards.
Well, nobody bats 1,000.
Nobody bats 1,000.
I'm never going to play like Danny Gatton. I'll never play like Roy Buchanan. I'll never play like Vince Gill, like all my heroes. I'll never play like Guthrie Trapp, who I'm sitting here with. But I can still be inspired by that, and I am inspired by that, even though I haven't got the, those chops. It's still inspiring from a musical perspective.
But all those guys that you just mentioned, man, they're amazing, but they're not going to sound like you either.
Well, that's a good point.
And that's it. I mean, we all have.
Anybody who watches my channel is going to know that they don't want to sound like me. So, so that's okay for them, I'm sure. But I got what you're saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I get a little bit at my age, and I'm not old. I'm not young anymore. I'm 46, so I'm kind of right there in that middle age where, at this point, I have gained enough experience where I can share some things back to some people just from living it myself.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be an expert in anything, but when you have some time behind you, then you're able to have some perspective on some of these things. And so there's a little bit of that. I've gotten involved in a lot of education stuff lately. I say lately, over the past 10 years or so, and man, that's proven to be a great thing in all respects. I'm learning more. I'm sharing some things to help some other people demystify some of this stuff on the guitar, making some money doing it. Hey, that's all great. All good stuff. Now, you mentioned when you came here to Roberts for the first time, you stood in the doorway.
Yes.
Well, when I moved, I came here in the mid-'90s to Nashville, and with a guy named Gove Scrivener that moved from Nashville to the Gulf Coast. So I grew up close to the Gulf of Mexico, so there was a bar there called the Floribama, and we had a big songwriters festival down there called the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Well, that attracted a lot of amazing, legendary songwriters from Nashville to come down to the Floribama. Who doesn't want to go to a 2-week songwriters festival on the beach at an amazing bar? 3 stages,
Right.
Not unlike a Nashville honky tonk. Music started at 10 o'clock in the morning, went till 3 a.m. As you can hear, they're down here sound checking right now. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're down here sound checking at Roberts.
10 o'clock in the morning, there's going to be music going all day long here at Roberts until about 2, 3 in the morning, until they close.
And the drinks will be flowing like water.
This is not Sunday school. That's on Sunday. This is a honky tonk. You are allowed to dance, drink beer.
And so it's a long story, played at the Bama for a long time. But then when I came here, I'd been to Nashville and recorded with Gove a bunch of times in the mid-'90s before I thought about moving here. I came down here, I knew about the Don Kelley Band. So when I got my apartment on Music Row for $500 a month 25 years ago, I knew about the Don Kelley Band from my local music store. They'd been to some NAMM shows, and they were like, hey, if you ever get to Nashville, you got to go see the Don Kelley Band. I think I heard it on the CD player in the music store in Pensacola a long time ago. And so I knew about Don Kelley. So when I got my apartment, I just came down here and stood in the doorway, listened to Johnny Highland for months. And then I finally told Don, I said, hey, if Johnny ever can't make it or he needs a sub, I could play this gig. We had a band on the Gulf Coast doing similar music. I didn't grow up playing any cover songs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I didn't grow up with any Beatles or any Rolling Stones or any Led Zeppelin.
Really?
I didn't learn any cover songs.
What did you grow up playing? Like, what did you play when you were
bluegrass, singer-songwriter music, and original music.
Beautiful.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up with the Stones or a little bit of Rolling Stone stuff, but not Led Zeppelin, not the Beatles. I didn't know anything about those bands.
Interesting.
I'm not a rock guitar player, but
interesting. But I've got to say, in that vein, you are, my understanding is you are really good friends with one of my other idols, Billy Gibbons.
Me and Billy got to be great friends. I was just texting with him a minute ago, and
Oh, jeez.
and we've got some stuff coming up. But man, that's a whole other very long story. But that came out of nowhere, man. You know, he was seeing some YouTube stuff, and he ended up getting me to be a guest at his lifetime award ceremony at the Opry House, and we've been best friends ever since, man. It's been amazing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Really, really incredible. I say best
That's so
friends. He's become one of my best friends. I mean,
That's so cool.
it's amazing. So I came down here, stood in the doorway, finally, you know, told Don, like, hey, man, if Johnny can't make it, I'd love to be a sub. Oh, we don't let anybody sit in. No, thanks, man. Well, they all knew me because I was in the door drinking Shiner Bock beer every night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for like a month or two. And so finally, one night, I was standing outside on the sidewalk talking to Don, and this guy, Joe's son, walked by, and he goes, and he knew Don, and he knew me from the store band.
Oh,
Joe
cool,
goes,
cool, yeah.
hey, Don, you ought to get this kid to sit in sometime. Don goes, no shit. and I was like, okay, maybe I'm in. And so Don goes, all right, man, next week, bring your guitar down here.
Awesome.
And I sat in, I think Kenny Vaughn was playing at that time. And I sat in a couple times, and Don goes, hey, man, Johnny's leaving this gig. If you want it, it's yours.
Wow.
And I went, awesome.
Wow.
I got the gig. And then I played with Don for 4 years off and on down here, a year or two solid. And then I started getting work with, I toured with Patty Loveless a bunch. Then the Jerry Douglas thing happened, and I worked on a bunch of road stuff, and records with him opened up for Paul Simon for a bunch of months, and just did all this stuff, and it just kept evolving and evolving and evolving. Toured a lot, did some sessions, and then I started seeing that I wanted to carve out my own thing.
I got you.
And I started over the past 15 years just trying to get everything under one umbrella because I wanted to have the creative control and I wanted to do my own thing. And I didn't want anybody telling me where to be and when and how much money I was going to make. You know?
Good point.
I wanted to do it on my own. And
You want to be in control of your own destiny, so to speak.
Control of my own destiny. And so if you just have that one view of being a musician where, well, I'm going to go play my guitar and somebody else is going to pay me and they're going to call, and if the phone's not ringing, you're not working. It's like, man, I wasn't going to do that.
And it seems like a lot of musicians, whether it's a guitar player or whatever else, get into a niche like where they either want to tour and they want to be playing just live, or they want to just be in the studio recording and stuff, or maybe they gravitate toward that, or maybe that's where the gigs come from. But being eclectic,
I'm not sure they all know what they want to do. I think they see other people and think that, because I went through it. I'm telling you, because I went through it myself. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I can tell you, like when I was here for a couple years, maybe the first 5 years, then I started seeing, the brass ring is like the session musician.
Right.
They're making great livings. They're in town. They're playing on all these records. They're popular. Oh, who's this guy? He's doing a lot of sessions. Like,
when I was young, I always thought that too. It's like, wow, he's been on everybody's records, and stuff like that. Like these different guitar players.
Yeah, so that's what I was like. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that guy, And so then I started buying a bunch of gear and all this shit. And I realized after I chased this for 3 or 4 years, and I was like, you sound the same on everything. Not every song, I'm talking about every guitar or amp. I plug into a 335 or a Gretsch or a Tele or a Strat. It all just sounds like me, which now I'm proud of. But back then it was like, well, man, I want to get called I want to be the busy guy. I want to be busy every day in the studio and all that stuff. It's like, well, now I'm so glad that I figured it out. I was like, look, man, you don't even like this. You don't like this music. You don't like most of these people. You're not a good politician. You're not going to tell the artist his songs are amazing when they're not. And it wasn't for me.
And there's got to be a lot of ass kissing in that niche too.
And I am not cut out for that. And so, I kept steering the ship over to being more of an artist.
Yeah.
And Michael Rhodes goes, dear friend Michael Rhodes, who passed, he goes, man, you're chasing something you don't even want to do. He goes, you're an artist, man. He goes, you need to keep making your own music and doing your own thing. And so I got the respect from the people that I respected here in that lane, and that was a very important point in my life.
Interesting.
Extremely important. Because you're still getting the validation that you're seeking desperately, but you're also arriving in the lane that you need to be putting your energy in. So you're not just grasping at these things, So my idea of success in that respect is, I just wanted to gain the respect of the people that I respected the most here. The guys that were the best that I looked up to, I wanted them to appreciate what I was doing or able to do.
Yeah, what you're bringing to the table and bringing to the business too.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I wanted to be accepted as a peer.
Yeah.
Even though I respect my elders, and a lot of these guys are 20 years older than I am, I wanted their respect, and so that's kind of how I look at it. If we're on our deathbed, all of our money and houses and cars and whatever bullshit you've acquired, it's all gone, man. When you fill out that will, you're signing, all that shit's going to somebody else.
Exactly.
It's like a big old garage sale.
But
somebody else
who
is
you
gonna
are,
end up with all your shit.
So all the gear that I want to talk about, all that stuff.
No, it doesn't matter.
I think about that sometimes. That's all going.
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I do. I have two. Yeah.
I don't have kids, so I'm giving all my shit to somebody else's kids.
Well,
but my point is
remember me in your will.
I don't have anything. I got one guitar. And so, but my point of all that is basically on your deathbed, you can go, hey man, the guys that I respected, they respected me and they got it. We all got each other,
That's so cool.
And so if you go around trying to impress everybody else that you don't even care about, then what's the point of all that, It's an empty gesture,
That's a great point. We've all got, guitar heroes or musical heroes, songwriting heroes. You mentioned John Prine. I mean, John Prine is one of my all-time, and Guy Clark, Townes Van Zandt, Lyle Lovett. I mean, those
are guys that I grew up, household names.
Yeah.
Household names.
But the feel and the emotion, all four of those guys are similar in a way, but they're all unique.
They're honest.
Yes.
They're not phonies. They're not fakes.
Exactly
Those
right.
guys are real.
And John Prine, as you know, could write the most tender love song and have the funniest line you've ever heard, like a little joke in there, and you crack up in the middle of this really deep, serious song like Souvenirs. Souvenirs is a pretty deep song. That's it makes me want to cry half the time, except you got those little lines in there. And just
Sam Stone, talk about a gut wrencher. Then you've got that's the way that the world goes round. Half an inch of water and you think you're going to drown. That right there can be that's your inspirational quote for life. Half an inch of water and you think you're going to drown.
That's the way that the world goes round.
Because what that means is your thoughts are what is going to control your destiny. Whatever you think, because you can't believe everything that you think. Your thoughts aren't real. And you're not your thoughts. You're the thinker of your thoughts. And so when you have a negative thought come in, you have the choice. Our brains are very powerful. We can't just let our thoughts drive us through life. We have to be in control of our thoughts.
So interesting. It's so true.
It's a choice. When you get up there and when you get up every day, you have the choice of doing whatever you want to do. But you have to be smart enough and strong enough to execute those things.
You were saying a little while ago too, you can either get bogged down like trying to compare yourself to other people and saying, oh, listening to him makes me want to quit playing because I'm never going to be that good. And I've heard people say that. Boy, you're making me want to quit playing. Not about me, like about other players,
That's a valid point though. When people say, I want to burn my guitar, he makes me want to quit. Well, you say that jokingly, but
deep down, that's coming from somewhere deep. And instead of that, just be inspired by it. Like you were saying, you're always going to play like yourself. You can have heroes, you can have idols, you can have influences, and that's awesome.
It is. Music is it's a living, breathing thing that's not meant to be overthought, You got to have the utmost respect for it, but you can't kill it with thinking. You have to just play, It has to come out,
Right.
It needs to be fresh. It needs to stay fresh. And you need to take some chances.
Taking chances, exactly right.
It's not a day job. It's not a day job. It's a lifestyle.
I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever else, and I've got some sort of a melody in my head, or 3 in the afternoon it hits me, and just something,
Yeah.
and I've just got to pick up the guitar and play because I've got something in me that I've got to test out. I've got to hear it, not just in here. I've got to hear it happening
Get
too.
it out. Yeah.
And not that I'm any good at songwriting. If you listen to my songs, you'll understand why. But
Well, that's okay.
But
man.
I mean, it's
you can't
but
do
it's
the
fun though.
You can't do the second one until you do the first one.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Life lessons with Guthrie Trapp. I mean, seriously.
I don't know.
No,
what
this
I'm
is
talking about,
fantastic.
but all I know is the things that I think about and the things that help me. And at 46 years old, I'm not old, but I'm not young either anymore. And so, it's,
I'm right behind you. I'm catching up. So.
Yeah. Again, it's just sharing a few of the things that have crossed my mind and that I've experienced. From being in Nashville for 25 years and playing music for 35 years, and it's a lot of guys like me. We've devoted our life to this, man. I mean, and so it's not about geeking out about this or that. I don't talk about gear. I don't care. I've got some gear that I use that works for me really well. As you get better, your gear's going to get better. If your playing ability is here and your gear is here, well then it's out of balance. If your playing ability is here and your gear is here, well then that's out of balance. So it all ends up working out if you just are patient and let it all happen. You can't force this stuff.
You said that it doesn't matter what guitar you've got, you're going to sound like you. You even went so far, I think, to say is the gear just doesn't matter at all, which is really interesting. And I think I think there's a misnomer that a lot of people have. I mean, probably myself too. Like, I've got to have this guitar or that guitar and all that stuff. But if you have a drive to play, my father started playing at 5 years old. And his guitar had 2 strings on it for the first 6 months, but he just wanted, and he said the action was about that high off the fretboards, but he wanted to play so bad, he learned to play on just the 2 strings just to get the dexterity. Because if you want to play, it doesn't matter what instrument you're playing.
Matter. I mean, I'd rather have a guy with 2 strings that can make music than a classical pianist that can't play anything without sheet music in front of them.
There you go.
What's the point if you're on a desert island? Desert or deserted? The verdict's still out. But
well, I love dessert, so I'm gonna say
a desert island. Yeah.
A desert island.
Yeah, right.
That's the island I want to be on.
So if you got a coconut and a string, but you can hear it and make a melody versus somebody that can't, then I'll take that. If your guitar is out of tune but you can't hear it, it doesn't matter. So it all comes down to your ear. If you can hear what you're doing, you're going to be fine. If you can't hear it, then there's no theory that's going to help you.
That's a very good point.
Simple.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. Music is meant to be heard, not read on a piece of paper. And of course, a little theory is not going to hurt you. You gotta speak a little bit of the lingo to be able to communicate with other people.
True.
That's going to be helpful. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
And that's a great point too. I mean, you see these Facebook forums and all that stuff, like these Facebook groups and stuff.
They just want to argue. They just want to argue.
They want to say,
you can be talking about a carburetor on a 1968 Chevelle or something. And they don't give a shit what the subject matter is. All those guys, they just want to argue about something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's the windings on a pickup. If it's a dominant 7 chord, it doesn't matter. They just want to argue.
Exactly right.
So,
exactly right.
It just depends on where you want to put your energy,
Well, yeah.
Now we are going to talk about some theory after I just said no theory. And everybody's going to bust me on this because I say the same thing. They're going to go, oh, here's the guy that doesn't use theory, but he talks about theory. It's like, what they don't understand is it's the mindset. Yeah. It's not the actual theory's not wrong. It's the mindset of how you approach the music.
And if you get caught up here,
is not always the 5 chord. If you're playing a blues in the key of C and it's a C9 or a C7, that doesn't mean that that's supposed to be it's a C7, so really that's the 5 chord of F. It's like, no, you're so far gone at that point. Good luck getting back. I'll tell you right now, I'll die on that argument on that hill all day long. Because what happened is somebody told them a long time ago that every 5 chord needs to be treated as a dominant 7 chord unless it's otherwise specified. Sure, you can go to C, go to G minor, and hear how cool the 5 minor is. It's amazing. It's like a dramatic, soulful change that evokes a lot of feeling, right?
And that's the thing. You've got the theory, but that's meant to evoke feeling. That's meant to get the emotion out.
Yeah, so once you get the emotion out and you want to figure out what that is, great. But don't do it in the reverse. Don't get a math problem together and then try to figure out how that's going to create emotion. Have the emotion first, then add the theory. It's like have the experience first, then add social media. That's the other thing I'll die on a hill about. You know, that everybody goes, well, you know, we're playing guitar for a living too, and I go, well, it's a little different. We've got the experience, and we sprinkled the social media on top of that. Now you've got all these people who have social media. Now they need to go back and gain 35 years of experience, and that's the truth. Put that on YouTube.
Yeah, that's going on YouTube for sure.
Good.
Well, sorry, YouTube, but
yeah, right.
This may not be a YouTube-friendly interview, but that's okay because this is the truth.
What I was going to say a minute ago, I think is important. So, you know, somebody along the line said, look, the 5 chord of a song needs to be treated as a dominant 7 chord, because if you're in C and you play a G chord and you play a G major scale, that natural 7 is not going to work. It has to be the flat 7 because it's going to resolve to the major third of the C chord.
Good point.
That's not fancy theory. That's just harmony and how it works.
I mean, that's just how it works. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, it sounds good. It sounds
so if you're playing a dominant 7 chord as the root chord, like a funk song in C, that doesn't mean that C is the 5 chord. It just means that it's a dominant 7 chord. That's still the root chord.
Right.
You don't think about it like that.
Right.
And that screws so many people up because they get locked into those rules. There are no rules as long as it sounds good.
I love that.
It has to sound good.
I love that.
If it doesn't sound good, then what good is the rule, you know?
And the rules are meant to be broken, I guess,
well,
too.
The rules are supposed to keep you out of trouble, but sometimes they can get you into trouble. Here's a good rule. Don't cross the street when there's a car coming. That's a good rule.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't drink gasoline. That's a good rule, right? But not playing a certain scale over another chord.
And so many people
Those are rules that need to be broken.
So many people get caught up in, I know the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. Well, basically that's the same scale. You're just starting on a different note. What other scale should I learn?
Well, that's like learning how to boil water as a cook.
Well, I know, exactly.
Pentatonic is not an ending spot. That's a starting spot.
Exactly. But take it past that. I mean, don't get locked in. I'm trying to tell my students this all the time, too.
Yeah.
Don't get locked into just that mindset where you have to play just these notes in a scale.
Most people are playing from a visual and a muscle memory place. They're playing the guitar. They're not even listening. They're not even listening to what they're playing.
Good point.
You have got to listen to what you're playing.
And to what everybody else is playing around you, too.
And, man, these are all just my opinions. I have fun with this shit because I'm not afraid to talk about anything.
I'm having fun. I'm sure all you guys are having fun right now, too, hopefully.
I hope
this
so.
is fantastic.
Don't change the channel just yet, folks.
I've got to ask you, though. You teach.
It's become the teaching thing. It not only is it amazing to share some things to other people and truly help them out, it's also become an unbelievable side business, you know? I mean, and now it started as a side business. Now it's moved up to be the main business.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, dude, cool. by far, you know.
So in your courses, are you teaching like just the nuts and bolts theory stuff, or is it sort of more like this? Are you teaching the ideology and all that stuff like we're talking about too?
It's a combination of both.
Combination of both?
Because I see the value in both.
And maybe that was a loaded question, but I just want them to hear it from you directly.
I'm not really teaching any theory other than like basic, like how to build a triad, how to find the root third fifth, how to count the notes of a major scale, how to play a chord, how to find the triads, how to take a big chord and dissect it. You know, the things that help me out, you know. And so I think it's a very sequential set of fundamentals that can help you with the mechanics of it. And then the rest is how well you train your ear, you know. And so that's the part that's the $1 million question is, is there is no magic pill.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put a lot of time into it. But the shortcut is not getting bogged down with all these people telling you that you need to do this and you need to do that. You know, from a professional working career musician, they're going to tell you, like, you know, you have to hear this stuff. You have to listen to a lot of music. You know, like listen to this.
And versatility is the key, exactly. Like this in the background. I know,
Like this guy in the background, he's playing these great songs. It's all about songs.
Exactly. I've said this for years and years. You can play the best guitar solo that anybody's ever heard, but nobody's going to hear it if it's not in a great song.
Yeah, what
people want to
song
listen to
is it?
songs. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
People want to listen to songs. That's what music is supposed to be
And
about.
really, to be honest, single notes don't mean anything unless there's chords behind them.
Good point.
Because
Good point.
think about it. If you can play a G major pentatonic and then that becomes an E minor pentatonic, then that works for everything. I mean, the major scale can be interpreted over any chord. You start putting, you know, they call that reharmonizing, right? So if you take a simple melody and you start putting all these different chords behind every one of those notes, I mean, it's crazy. So what I teach is look, you know, the chord is the foundation. Without the chord, you have nothing. You've got an open guitar, right? So you play the chord. That's your foundation. Then the next thing is the arpeggio. That's your framework. Then built on top of that, sequentially layering, is the pentatonic. Then the major scale, then you're improvising from that, right? But if you don't have those in sequence, you're never going to see the foundation that you need to not get lost on the guitar.
Good point.
It's not going to happen.
You know what I think would be a really fun exercise, and I've never thought of this before. Write a simple melody, or a melody that
You already know.
your favorite song or whatever, and put like 3 completely different chord changes behind it. Just try 3 completely different, you know, chord structures and chord changes, and hear how the song changes. I think that would be really cool to try out.
Yeah, you should
now, some
do
of it's
that.
going to sound like shit,
Yeah.
but you might find something really cool in there too, and that's sort of experimentation.
Yeah, I think you should probably try that with a melody you already know really well, like Amazing Grace or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then maybe try to write your own. I think that's a good exercise.
I'm going to put links for all of Guthrie's social media. Don't get mad at me. I'm saying social media.
I love social media.
I know. No, so the social media, I'm going to put a link to his courses in the description of this video too, and his website and all that stuff. You got to check this stuff out. Guthrie, thank you so much for being here.
Buddy.
I really appreciate it, man.
Well,
this is awesome.
I hope you guys got something out of that. I had fun, and again, I love talking about all this stuff, as you can tell. So I'm passionate about it, and we're just going to keep rocking on until somebody tells us we have to stop.
Exactly. I know that I learned a ton in this interview, so to speak, but it's an awesome conversation, and I'm sure you all did too. So this is Johnny Stewart signing off in John's Guitar Lounge, and I will see you all next time.
Awesome.
Take care, everybody. Thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. I'll edit this part out, or maybe I'll keep it in. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people like the behind-the-scenes stuff, I think, too. So
maybe,
so maybe let's keep
I like
it in.
that stuff too, as long as you can hear what we're saying.
Play jazz and know all these chords to do that.
Say what? That's fine. Let them up.
Yeah.
I believe there's actually people in here down there
I know.
beer and eating cheeseburgers. It's 11 a.m. down here in Roberts.
That's awesome, though, isn't it? Before
This
we
is the first
wrap.
time I've ever been at the bar at Roberts without a drink in my hand, by the way.
Well, the bar's right there. We could probably reach over and grab a couple of buds or something, but yeah.
It's only 11 a.m., but
A little early, I guess.
man, I've had some nights in this place, buddy. Oh, my God.
I bet.
Am I looking at the camera or am I looking at you?
You can look wherever you want to.
You're on that one. Okay.
Yep, I'm on that one, so you can see me there, you can see me here.
We're having a conversation.